Dear participants, welcome to the day 3 of AVLOKAN, the International Research Summit. We are going to begin as per the schedule. Request you to stay tuned with us. Thank you. Dear participants, welcome to the third day of AVLOKAN, the International Research Summit. Requesting all of you connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned with us. We are going to begin in next few minutes. Thank you. Dear all, thanks for joining in. I request you to stay with us for upcoming 6 days. Lots more to explore and learn from our eminent speakers. For tomorrow, day 4, we have with us the legendary speakers as Director, CMS Jain Team to be University, Dr. Dinesh Neelkant conferring his views on the topic, role of social responsibility in networking, and Ms. Amita Paul, Product Manager, LinkedIn, delivering her talk on the topic, should you focus on your strengths or improve your weak points? Participants, let me take you through the journey of Research Summit, where we have with us renowned speakers apprising us with their intellect on a variety of topics. I'm sure you have a lot to take back from these sessions. So we have with us on 5th of August, Dr. Dinesh Neelkant and Ms. Amita Paul. Next day, we have us on 6th of August, Ms. Nidhi Vadera, who is a sales coach, business consultant, and an author. And she will be talking on the topic, the inverted funnel. And the session is going to begin at 7:30 p.m. Following which, we have with us Professor V. Ranganathan, retired RBI chair and Professor IIM Bangalore. He will be delivering his views on the topic, redefining social responsibility and ethics. Later on, for 3 days, that is from 7th to 9th of August, we have track presentations. And then comes the D-Day with Dr. Philip Kotler as our chief guest. And he will be talking on the topic, evolution of marketing. The session will begin at 7 p.m. sharp. Following which, we have international panel discussion with Dr. John Lipinski, Professor, Indiana University, along with Mariana Goody, who is CEO of Meraki Organization, with Sasha E. Butler, CEO, CGALE, and Dr. Vinod Kamblekar, who is the founder and CEO of Mentis. For today, as we have been waiting for so long to listen to the legendary speaker, we all have been waiting for this moment for such a long time, and that is for our chief guest, Professor Muhammad Yunus. and he is going to deliver his views on the topic social responsibility with ethical leadership. Stay tuned with us. We are just going to begin as per our particular schedule. Thank you. Participants, we have with us joined in our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Raj Singh. Thanks for joining in, sir. A very warm welcome to you. Dear participants, we have with us joined in our Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Raj Singh. Thanks for presiding, sir. Welcome to the event. Shortly, we are going to start requesting all our participants connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned with us.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sir.
Dear participants, welcome to the third day of AVLOKAN, the International Research Summit. Requesting everyone connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned with us. We are going to begin in next few minutes. Participants, we have with us joined in our director, Dr. Dinesh Neelkant. Thanks for joining in, sir. A very warm welcome to you.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Good evening,
evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. VC sir join हुए?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Good evening, VC sir.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Dear participants, welcome once again to the third day of AVLOKAN, the International Research Summit. Requesting everyone connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned with us. We are going to begin in next few minutes. Thank you.
In the meantime, you can always tell them that those two sessions, no? Yunus sir, and then you
Yes,
have K. Gupta.
yes, sir.
You can tell them so you can save time later.
Absolutely, sir. So we have with us, first of all, the legendary speaker, Professor Muhammad Yunus, joining in just in a while, and following which we have with us Mr. P.K. Gupta joining in. I request all the participants to stay tuned with us for upcoming 6 days for lots more to explore and learn from our eminent speakers. Tomorrow, day 4, we have with us our speakers as Director, CMS Jain Team to be University, Dr. Dinesh Nilkant conferring his views on the topic, role of social responsibility in networking, and Ms. Amita Paul, Product Manager, LinkedIn, delivering her talk on the topic, should you focus on your strengths or improve your weak points? We have also joined in with us Mr. Arup Chatterjee. Thanks for joining in, sir. Welcome to the event.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, Arup. Welcome once again.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Arup, sir. Welcome back.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Arup sir.
Good evening.
Participants, let me take you through the journey of Research Summit, where we have with us renowned speakers surprising us with their intellect on a variety of topics, and I'm sure you have a lot to take back from these sessions. So we have with us for today's session, Professor Muhammad Yunus as our chief guest, who is a Nobel Prize laureate, a social entrepreneur, and founder of Grameen Bank. And he is going to deliver his views on the topic, social responsibility with ethical leadership. And the session is just going to begin at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Following which, we have with us Mr. P.K. Gupta, Global CTO, Global Alliances Pre-Sales, and he will be talking on the topic Emerging Technology Trends in Various Industries, Research and Career Opportunities in Data Era. The session is going to begin at 8:15 p.m. sharp. On the D-Day, that is the final day, that is 10th of August, we have with us as our chief guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Philip Kotler, father of modern marketing, and he will be talking on the topic of evolution of marketing. And that is going to begin at 7 p.m. sharp. So stay tuned with us. Requesting all participants connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned. We are going to begin just as per the schedule.
You can also announce the feedback.
Feedback form, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so that they will be.
Yes, sir. So the feedback form is required to be filled by all the participants to receive certificate. At the same time, all of you can also put your questions in the Q&A box at the time when the session is going on, and these questions are going to be taken up at the end of the session.
Welcome, Registrar, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Participants, we have with us joined in our registrar, Dr. NVH Krishnan. Thanks for joining in, sir. Welcome to the event.
And Shiva, also the Pro Vice Chancellor. Dr.
Yes, sir.
Ishwaran has also joined. Make a mention of
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. Dear participants, we have with us also joined in our Pro Chancellor, Dr. N.
Pro Vice
Subbarajan,
Chancellor.
Pro Vice Chancellor,
Dr. Ishwaran.
Dr. Ishwaran. Thanks for joining in, sir. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We also have with us Mr. Shabir Ahmed. Welcome to the event, sir.
Good evening, sir. Our guest speaker has joined. I'll just rename them.
Finally, the wait is over, and participants we have with us joined in our chief guest of the event, Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. Thanks for joining in, sir. A very warm welcome to you. Sir, with your kind permission, can we start with the session?
Hi, this is Shabir here. I guess Professor Yunus hasn't joined yet. Let me ask him to join right away.
Sure, sir.
Please give me a minute.
Sure, sir. Shortly, we are going to start requesting all our participants connected through Zoom and Facebook Live to stay tuned with us and keep filling feedback form which is shared with you. Also keep posting your questions in Q&A box to be taken up after the presentation. Participants, welcome to the third day of AVLOKAN, the International Research Summit. And the wait is finally over. We are just going to begin right at 7:30 p.m. with our esteemed speaker.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hello.
Very good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, Professor Yunus, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time and being with us this evening.
Thank you.
I think your joining will add credibility to all our efforts. Thank you so much indeed.
I'm delighted to be with you.
Shiva, you can start.
Sure, sir. A very good evening, dear participants, delegates, and speakers. Welcome to the day 3 of AVLOKAN, International Research Summit on Redefining Social Responsibility with Ethical Leadership, organized by Vidyanidhi, Student Research and Development Cell, association with Gyanidhi, Faculty Research Cell of Center for Management Studies, Jain Team University. Received your immense support and presence for last 2 days. I desire to continue this journey with same spark for upcoming days as well. Thanks once again to all of you joining in and making this summit worthwhile. On this note, I would like to invite Professor Vinod Kumar presenting to you our legendary speaker of the session. Over to Professor Vinod.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva, for that warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, before I take this opportunity to introduce our renowned speaker for the session, I'm reminded by a quote by Germany Kent, and she says, I quote, "Let your light shine as an inspiration to humanity and be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people," unquote. I feel nothing could describe our session speaker better than this, as he's the one who has entirely devoted himself to the service of mankind. He's the one who makes us believe we still care for everyone around, and he's the one who embodies humanity in the true sense of the word. With immense respect and gratitude, I feel honored to take this privilege to welcome our esteemed keynote speaker of the session, Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. recipient of the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize. Professor Muhammad Yunus is internationally recognized for his work in poverty elevation and the empowerment of poor women. Professor Yunus has successfully melded capitalism with social responsibility to create the Grameen Bank, a microcredit institution committed to providing small amounts of working capital to the poor for self-employment. From its origins as an action research project in the year 1976, Grameen Bank has grown to provide collateral-free loans to over 7.5 million clients in more than 82,072 villages in Bangladesh, and 97% of whom are women. Over the last 2 decades, Grameen Bank has loaned out over $6.5 billion to the poorest of the poor, while maintaining a repayment rate consistently above 98%. The innovative approach to poverty elevation pioneered by Professor Yunus in a small village in Bangladesh has inspired a global microcredit movement reaching out to millions of poor women from rural South Africa to inner city Chicago. His autobiography, Banker to the Poor, Microlending and the Battle Against World Poverty, has been translated in French, Italian, Spanish, English, Japanese, Portuguese, Dutch, Gujarati, Chinese, German, Turkish, and Arabic. Dear sir, on behalf of Center for Management Studies, Jain, deemed to be university, I convey my heartfelt gratitude to you for accepting our invitation. It is an absolute privilege and honor to each one of us present here to have you with us for today's session.
Vinod,
yes, sir.
Vinod, one small thing. Just an extension of what you are saying. I want our Chancellor is here, Dr. Chainraj Roychan, and I want sir to wish Yunus sir. Sir, are you there, sir?
Over to you, Chainraj sir.
Chainraj sir, are you there?
Sir, he is not in the panel. I just
Dr. Dinesh, he may be with us anytime. I was just speaking to him.
Yes, sir, he has joined. He has joined. Just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Let me take him to panel.
Yes. Quickly take it. Quickly.
Just a second, sir. He should be here now.
So please bear with us for 1 minute.
No problem. No problem. Go ahead. I'll be delighted
He
to
wanted
see
to
him.
wish you.
Sir,
No, I'm delighted to see
He's a
him.
big fan of
Namaskar.
yours.
How are you?
We have
Good to see you.
Sir, the
Good to see you
youngest man
again.
on the planet.
Wow.
youngest of the youngest. Nobody can
Absolutely.
be like Professor Muhammad Yunus. I have been
Thank
your
you.
fan from 92 onwards, and one from Oxford, no, Fulbright scholar going to Bangladesh, going outside the university and meeting a lady with a water and with no dresses, and he immediately changes what am I teaching in the classroom, and that is the legendary. I think there can on the planet it cannot be another person like Muhammad Yunus. I want each and every participant to listen to every word of his. Every word is an encyclopedia of Dr. Professor Muhammad Yunus, and you should all take the motivation from this young man. All of you are present here will be still older than him.
Absolutely.
When it comes to ideas, at 80, he is the most highest thinker and a legendary on the planet. And because of Muhammad Yunus, I started Jain College, and today I am here only because of that legend. Only because of Professor Muhammad Yunus. I read in the chicken soup of the school, I read his stories. And that is where I started the college. And today, if I have grown, it is only because of Professor Muhammad Yunus. I had the honor of meeting him in Windsor, in the ITC hotel last year. And I have taken up that social movement with him. And Muhammad Yunus is part of Jain University. But I am still in that energy and charge that day I met him live. Even today, I'm not able to come out of that trance what I have been. And that is Professor Muhammad Yunus for me. In my opening talk, I spoke to all of you about Professor Muhammad Yunus, how he started with just giving 6 rupees loan to a lady to create 2 stools. And today, 6.5 billion women entrepreneurs and microfinance, $33 billion legend. Forget about Nobel Prize, but the impact he has created in the lives of people. I was speaking to you all about solopreneurship, and this man has created millions of entrepreneurs on the planet. If today there are microfinance word itself across the world self-help groups, it is Professor Muhammad Yunus. So he is going to be eternity his bodily and soul, and God will give him a life to live for 140 years like Ikigai of Japanese. And I want Professor Mohammed Yunus to live for another 50 years to create 6 million more solopreneurs on his lifetime, and which he's doing already. So I don't want to see, he doesn't like praises, but then I'm telling it is because I have told Professor Mohammed Yunus on his birthday last month that I am your first fan and there cannot be second person fan. So Chainraj will be the first fan for Professor Mohammed Yunus. It's a momentous occasion for us, Professor Mohammed Yunus. It's an honor for us. And the youngest person is in front of me. So my life has increased another 20 years by looking at you today. So live, I'm going to call you to Bangalore. We'll meet again. And your mission of Bangladesh of 6 million more solopreneurs of $1 million each solopreneur, and all the people who are participant here, my own students of Jain University, and all the people who are just waiting for you to listen to you. More than 1 lakh of people are going to listen to you today, especially Jain University students. Each of them are a solopreneur, and they're all going to become very good leaders in their life. And your 1 hour of talk, it will be like a Gita Gyan, it may be a prophet Bible, it can be everything. But this is where I think I came running from 20 kilometers just to connect with you, and I reached on time. I'm very lucky to have a divine soul in Professor Mohammed Yunus. Words Raj Singh can understand that the kind of energy and excitement what I have got by seeing him itself. If I get so much of energy, imagine you'll all get charged, and you need not even charge your battery for another 60 years after his talk. I assure you that. And that is a man where you'll have to take a role model, leap out of his book. And even if you can do 1% of Professor Mohammed Yunus, you'll be the most successful person on the planet. And that's Professor Mohammed Yunus, one among the 800 crore population on the planet, and there cannot be another alternative Professor Mohammed Yunus. That is my conviction, my belief, and my confidence. And thank you, sir, and namaskar.
Thank you.
So I would be here to listen to you to develop my more energy today listening to you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Chenraj,
much.
sir. Thank you, Chenraj, sir. What a delight it is to get to see our inspiration become the keynote speaker for today's session. Chenraj, sir, your presence has added more charm and meaning to us today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an important announcement. After Professor Mohammed Yunus speaks, there will be a very small Q&A session. Kindly drop in your questions in the Q&A box. I am happy to see already questions are pouring in. We will take them after the talk. Without any further ado, sir, our ears are waiting to listen to you. Over to you, sir.
Yunus can talk for 24 hours non-stop.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So wonderful wonderful to hear you, all the exciting remarks that you make. And I'm delighted to be with you again. I remember meeting you in Bangalore and talking about the things that we can do together. And thank you for organizing this session. And I'm very happy to meet your students and faculty and yourself. And you created a Yunus Social Business Center in your university. And that has a permanent friendship between us and the continuous relationship that we built with that. So what I'll do, I'll make a few remarks at the beginning and then open the floor for the question and answer. And you have raised this whole issue of microcredit. I was not thinking about going into microcredit today, but since you raised it, the one point I would like to underline in the whole thing, I had no intention of making microcredit. I had no plan. I had no dream, no thought about becoming a banker of any kind. Banking was not in my mind ever since I was born. I never thought I will go into that direction. It was something never attracted me. But accidentally, I was pushed into that situation. Circumstances pushed me into that direction. So the reason I'm saying that you don't have to plan everything just because you plan and you go and do it. That's true. You need that planning, but circumstances can push you into direction which you never expect, never thought that you'll go into that direction, and make a tremendous journey through that road. And this is what happened with lending money for me. I was a university teacher, and but under extreme circumstances of famine in the country in Bangladesh in 1974. And I was totally frustrated that I teach something which has no meaning in the life of the poor people, because I cannot touch the life of any poor people. They are hungry, they are approaching death every day because of the hunger, because of the non-availability of food for them. And here I am, I can't do anything. And my subject that I teach, economics, has no meaning in the life of the poor people. So I was frustrated with the whole thing, that I have learned something which has no meaning for people. So I was kind of disowning everything that I have learned and saying that I wasted my time. I must see how I can make myself useful to people. So this is a new journey for me, to learn how to make myself useful in any way, in some way, to the people that I live with. And the university is surrounded by the village, several villages around the university, and extreme poor people live there. So I thought, why don't I go to the village every day and meet these people and stay with them, talk to them, see if I can be of some use to them. I don't know what use. I have to find out how I can be useful to them. So that's what brought me to the university, to the village. And I started learning about the village, about the people, and trying to see, it's not my educational thing. That's not what I was looking for. I was just trying to see how to make myself useful in some way, even for a little thing every day. So that's my ambition, that's my mission. And I would always look forward to see if something I can find to make myself useful in somebody's life or for that day. And I did lots of little things, and that brought me closer to the people. And then after months and months of this doing that, I see how terrible things are happening in the village because of the loan sharking. Loan sharks lend money to the poor people and extract every single drop they have to make themselves better off by taking away money and the resources from the poor people, by giving very unreasonable conditionalities of their loans. So I see the victimization process very vividly, since I see the people every day. I know what's happening in the village. I hear the stories from the people who have been victimized. So one thought came to me, if I want to be useful to those people who are being victims of loan shark, I must find a way how to protect them from the loan shark. So I thought, how do we do that? I have no idea. I was thinking about it, and one idea came, why don't I lend them the money myself? Then they don't have to go to the loan shark. I thought that's a reasonable explanation to start. Why don't I lend the money? So I started lending money out of my own pocket. This money needed was a very small amount, so that was not a problem. So this is how the whole thing began, and people loved it, and it became bigger and bigger. I became very excited about it, and that led me to the next step, and the next step. It grew bigger and bigger. And then I thought, in order to keep it going, I should give it the shape of a bank, so that I have some legal formalities of the bank and so on by creating a bank. So that's another journey. Instead of me personally giving money, I create a bank and giving the money through the bank instead of just informally. So that led to the creation of a small bank for the village. That's why we called it Grameen Bank, or a village bank. So our intention was to serve the village. But I never knew that it will grow fast, very fast, and grow from village to village, and became a nationwide bank, lending money to the poor people. And in the process, I challenged the whole banking system. I said, banking system is totally wrong. Banking system is the reason why poverty continues. And unless we fix the banking system, you cannot get the poor people out of the poverty and so on. So that campaign continued throughout my life, and continued that. I kept challenging whatever the things that we see going wrong is all because we design institutions the wrong way. And we have to see how to build those institutions the right way. And not only banking system, but many other institutions that we build, policies we build, theories that we build. That's the seeds of poverty lies. I keep saying that poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we build, institutions that we build. So institutions and the system contribute in creating the poverty. So until we change those things, poverty will not disappear. So my mission is to see how to change those policies, change those theories, and make those institutions redesigned so that it can happen. Today, because of the pandemic, this becomes more pressing, because everything is stopped. Poor people lost their income, lost their livelihood, lost their food. millions of them, billions of them throughout the world. And still, we don't know how far we have to go in this direction. And while this is going on, poor people are losing their income, losing their livelihood, getting pushed back to the poverty line and below the poverty line. People who are above the poverty line now pushed below the poverty line, and so on. So, so whatever little gain they had, now they're back again in the extreme poverty and so on. Not only in the region here in South Asia, but throughout the world, this is happening. And then during the same period, you keep noticing during the pandemic period, while billions of people are losing their income and becoming poorer and poorer, you see a handful of people gaining more and more wealth. During the same period, a handful of people, maybe all those billionaires and so on, not too many of them, gain more than $16 trillion during the same period. While people are losing money, they're gaining money. So the distance between the people and the wealth is becoming bigger and bigger. All the people of the world, 99% of the people of the world, are pushed at the bottom of the income scale. They are all lumped there at the bottom, 99% of the people. Whereas few people up in the sky, in the outer space, few people who are owning the 99% of the wealth. So the 99% of the wealth is in the sky, 99% of the people are on the down, at the ground level completely. So there's a big separation, segregation between the wealth and the people. And then distance between the people and the wealth gets wider and wider. And that is the cause of poverty, because we built a system which squeeze out every pinch of wealth and takes it to the rich people on the top. And even in a distress situation like pandemic, they are the gainers and the people at the bottom are the losers, and they continue to do that. So how do you fix it? How do you design it? That's why we come back to the university, like your university. That's where all the teaching that we have, all the learning that we have has to be accumulated by the young people, understood by the young people, so that they can go on, change the system and so on. But the way we do it, we kind of carry out the old system, repeat the old system, and go out doing the same old thing, so that the system continues to be the same, and poverty continues to get worse, and the wealth continues to get concentrated on the top. I said, that's a wrong system. So pandemic has shown us all those things vividly, how wrong the system is. When you look at the vaccine, this is another way to see how the real system is working. We have built a wall around the vaccine called the patent right. So we are protecting all those vaccines with the patent right. Millions of people are dying on the outside the wall because they cannot get to the vaccine. It's not the question of not being able to pay. It simply doesn't exist. It's not available because world doesn't produce enough of vaccines. So only the rich countries can afford to, can get access to the vaccines. Many countries in the world don't have access. Entire continent of Africa, not even 1% of the population have been vaccinated today, while all the vaccines are going in the direction of the handful of rich countries and so on. So because we built the wall around the vaccine, we have been complaining, we have been demanding that vaccines should be made patent-free so that anybody can produce anywhere in the world. So the patent is a kind of wall that protects the vaccine right only for a handful of people, half a dozen pharmaceutical companies in the world. They are the one doing that, and they want to make bigger and bigger money. So it's not on the wall of the patent, actually it's a wall of the profit maximization. That's what killing millions of people on this planet. So we said we remove this wall, take this wall down, so that the vaccine can be produced in every single country. It's possible, there's enough capacity to do that. So this is another very ugly case that we have seen during the pandemic. We're talking about the vaccine apartheid, reminding what was happening in the South Africa in those days of apartheid, segregating the people, black people from the white people and so on. Same people, this is the vaccine haves and vaccine have-nots. This is the world that we have right now, very vividly. So we need to redesign that system. That's where your role comes, young people's roles come. That's where the university roles come. And we have to create a new world to take us to a new direction. And that's where the new tools have to be developed. That's a challenge of the young people in the universities. What I keep telling people, that we have to build a world of 3 zeros. What are those 3 zeros? Zero net carbon emission. Global warming is going to kill us. You see that every day, but we don't do anything much for that, as if somebody has to fix it. No, not somebody has to. I have to fix it. You have to fix it. It's our world. So, and we are creating that global warming. So how do you do that? It's wrong thinking, wrong design of the business ideas and so on. So we have to redesign everything so that world can become zero net carbon emission world. So the first zero among the 3 zeros, first zero is your net zero carbon emission. And second zero is zero wealth concentration to end poverty once for all. Once we can remove this wealth concentration, instead of wealth running away from people, wealth should be coming towards people. Wealth and people should be living together, not segregated from each other. That's a wrong system, which takes wealth away from people. So we have to now redesign the system which will bring wealth to the people. So then there's no distance between, there's a zero distance between people and the wealth. And that's the thing we can do. It's all question of designing, like an engineer designs a building and so on, designs a bridge. We have to design a system, economic system, where wealth comes to the people and people and wealth always together. So this is the challenge for the young people to make that happen. And the third zero is zero unemployment. Zero unemployment by unleashing the entrepreneurial ability of all of us. All human beings are entrepreneurs. But we are told, we are at the university, you'll hear it a lot, study hard, get a good grade, so that you get a good job, as if job is the ultimate of human being. I said, no, that's not the ultimate of human being. Ultimate of human being is to know yourself, what is inside of you. You are packed with unlimited creative capacity. So your job is to explore that creative capacity and learn about your own self, what you got, and use the creative capacity to make the world the way you want. This is your capacity to do that. And your young people have lots of that creative capacity. Today's young people are more powerful than the young people from previous generations because they have tremendous technology. So how to use this technology and change the world. So that's zero unemployment. And zero unemployment is very important because artificial intelligence is coming, you remember? And artificial intelligence will remove everybody from jobs. Human beings are not needed. Very soon, human beings will become garbage on this planet, useless being, because machines will do all the job. That's a wrong idea. That's a wrong theory. That's a wrong system. We have to get out of the way. Human beings should be bringing out their creative capacity, make this world a better place. So I said, instead of following the old path to go in the full old direction of suicidal path, we will be building a new path to go to a new direction. Old roads always take you to the old destination. So now, in order to go to the new destination is the destination of creating new 3-0 world. So we have to build new roads. That's the challenge that we have to take, build new roads to go to the new destination. I'll finish by just mentioning we launched a new program, which you may be interested. You can go to the website and look at 3-0 Club. Just type it out, 3-0 Club, and they will explain to you. We are inviting all young people to form 3-0 clubs. Each club is consisting of 5 young people, just 5. 5 young people can get together to create a 3-0 club. What is the purpose of this club? Purpose of the club is to create a 3-0 world. Zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, zero unemployment. These are the 3 zeros that we have. So if you are interested, if you fit into the age group that we have mentioned from 12 years to 35 years, please form yourself into 3-0 clubs and get the network of each other. You'll be doing work with each other. That's nobody outside is telling you what to do. All you have to do, this is your world. You have to fly this spaceship, whichever direction you want. You are in the cockpit. You are the pilot to design it. Design your flight plan where you want to go. And that's the direction we were talking about. Go into 3-0 direction, 3-0 club. So I'll stop here and let you ask questions and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, to share your profound ideas with us. It's been indeed a pleasure to listen to your valuable thoughts. Now we have few questions from our participants.
Good.
There is a question from Mr. Sadiq. What is the best approach to help self-help group women to help to train on the available present best available technology to increase their sales for their better income so that they can also be part of mainstream economy?
Yeah. This depends on what is the product, what you want to do. So, but it's not always the technology which will solve the problem. Sometimes it's just a management skill which solves the problem. It's a new idea how you do that. But technology is a very helpful thing, but technology can come into the picture. So what you do, you said mainstream market and so on. Here, not only we participate in the mainstream market, but at the same time you challenge it. If you become a kind of a feeder into the mainstream, mainstream will remain mainstream. Today, we just talked about microcredit. The microcredit is not a mainstream. We have been doing it for the last 50 years, but we never made it to the mainstream. We are always at the footnote. That doesn't make us irrelevant. Simply system doesn't want to change itself. So we have to redesign the entire banking system. We said banking system should be redesigned to make it as a social business banking, so that those who are trying to reach out to the poor people, instead of this becoming a profit maximizing bank, they should be zero profit banks, so that we are not interested in making money by doing banking to the poor people. You're doing it to help them get out of the poverty that they have. Then the system changes. So we need a new law for that. Those things are not coming. So mainstream has to be looked with a grain of salt. It's not just the mainstream as it is. So while we do our own thing, at the same time we redesign the mainstream itself. It's a very important thing to do that. If otherwise you'll be sucked into the same old system because you're a tiny one and you are trying to solve the problem joining the mainstream, and mainstream sucks you up and you're finished. So you have to be very careful on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We have another question from Professor Shankar Prasad. He asked, can we use gross national happiness instead of GDP in least developed countries, as it includes ethical values and good governance? The question is in reference to the rampant increase in corruption in some LDC and developing countries like India, Brazil, and Bangladesh.
Yeah, GDP definitely is not the measure of happiness of the people, because when you say economy is growing at a certain percentage rate, that we always quote that this is a sign of good health of an economy. I raised the question when you mentioned that number, the percentage, whose growth are you talking about? And I just mentioned during the pandemic, poor people are losing money, and it's the rich people who make trillions of dollars. Yeah. So when we talk about the growth, it's the growth of the top people, not the growth of the poor people. So why do we be so interested in making rich people super rich? Is this the purpose of the economy? So why are we running after the growth rate? Just because some economists said the growth rate is the one that shows you how the economy is growing. Should the economy growing? Should the people be growing? Those are the basic questions. If you're looking for the growth of the people, you have to look for something else. It's not the growth of the super rich, it's the growth of the super poor. How the super poor are changing their life and so on. The system that we build is just works the completely reverse way that we would wish to happen. So we have to redesign the system. It's very clear that the GDP is not the kind of thing we'll be chasing. Rather, we'll be turning that around. Instead of GDP, we should be talking about the growth rate of the bottom 25% of the people. What is their growth rate? That's what we'll be chasing, not the growth rate of the top 1%. And that's what is dominating all our thoughts and all our thinking, how to make them richer. To make them richer is the growth rate. That's not our purpose. That's not the purpose of an economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question from Deepankar. In India, the SHT movement is hijacked by government for vote bank policy. What are your views on it? How should we proceed about it?
Which one is that? Can you explain again? Mention it again.
SHG movement.
Self-help groups.
Oh,
Yeah.
self-help group. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Well, government tried to bring microcredit to the poor people through the existing banking system. And I was always saying that that's not the way to do that, because it's a banking system which created the problem. So if you let the banking system to do the banking for the poor people, it will be just a little tiny kind of token activity for the bank. So you have to create exclusive bank for the people. And I give explanation by saying, when people look at me or try to introduce me like you have done today, they usually introduce me as a banker to the poor. And Grameen Bank is introduced as a bank for the poor. I said, that's fine. I'm a banker to the poor. I take it because that's what I do. I lend money to the poor people. And bank, I created Grameen Bank, is a bank for the poor. Is Grameen Bank is recognized as a bank for the poor? My question is, how do you recognize other banks that exist in the world? You simply call them banks. I said, that's a wrong thing. If you call me bank for the poor, you should be calling them bank for the rich. Then we know who are they are. So there should not be any confusion between that. So it's not just giving tiny loan by a commercial bank to the poor people we're talking about the entire designing of the banking system, so that this kind of ugly thing cannot go on, and making people losing money by being in the economic sector, by being sucked up by some economic system where I try to participate as a worker, as a labor, as an employee. And I kind of devote myself to help rich people to get richer. That's my service. I said, that's the wrong thing. The economics taught us to become job seekers. Job is a kind of a new way of new format of an old slavery process. They give us some money and I work for him. I devote my life and so on. I said, that's the wrong system. We should be telling young people that you are entrepreneurs and be an entrepreneur. Take your route, you bring your creative capacity and change the world. So going back to the self-help groups, this is something that government tried it out. I don't think that took very far, but whatever good that is there. But the important thing is to redesign the banking system so that they are devoted to do the work, the whole bank, not just tiny window in the conventional banks.
Thank you so much, sir.
Your
With the
model
permission,
your model of Grameen Kuta Bank in Bangalore is doing very well, bank for the poor, and it's doing very well in
Thank
Bangalore.
you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
It's at 6,000 crore level they have reached Grameen Kuta. It's all your Professor Mohammed Yunus. And they have been effectively doing it for the poor, and poor is becoming better and better. Even if a vegetable vendor is there, he's able to earn 5 lakh rupees a year and pay his fees for his children. So your philosophy is working across the world.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that.
Grameen Kuta, Bangalore.
Grameen Kuta, we're very good friends. We know Suresh, we know.
It's purely purely Mohammed Yunus model.
Yes, absolutely.
And it is doing well, and it is zero NPA. The poor people are very honest in paying their loans.
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you.
And every stamp is your stamp only in that bank.
Thank you.
thank you so much, sir. With your permission, can we take few more questions?
One more, maybe.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah.
We have a question from Dr. P. Periswamy. Even after the introduction of microfinance, poverty is not getting alleviated from the world. How to eradicate the poverty with the help of microfinance? Your inputs, please, sir.
Yeah. Microfinance is one challenge in the banking system, but the banking system is not changed. That's the point I was making. It is still, microcredit is a footnote. It's a tiny little thing. A banking system is a huge thing. Compared to that, microcredit is still tiny little thing. So you have to adopt it as a mainstream banking. Then you'll see the changes and so on. Microcredit looks after the financial aspect of it, one aspect of it. We have expanded it to the microcredit works at the credit part, the loan part, We have created venture capital fund, social business venture capital fund for the unemployed young people. We tell them that, look, you don't have to look for a job. You tell yourself, I'm not a job seeker. I'm a job creator. I'm an entrepreneur. So it's a good thing to say that I'm an entrepreneur, but to be an entrepreneur, you need money to invest, to start where you work and so on. No bank will give you any money. So what we did, we created this social business venture capital fund and asked the unemployed young people in Bangladesh, come with business idea and we'll invest in your business and put all our equity in your business and we'll be a partner. So it's your business and we'll be the financier for that. And you make it successful and you return the money that we gave you. Because we are a social business, we are not interested in your profit. Profit stays with you. All we want to get our money back so that we can give it to somebody else. So that idea clicked and is expanding. Now we have more than 75,000 young people, unemployed young people who are running businesses with the venture capital fund, social business venture capital fund. We said, we are social business. We are not interested in making money out of you, but you make money to make sure that you be prosperous, you make a successful businessman and so on. And young people discovered that. I said, your mother has done that. Illiterate mother in the village, she took small money, $20, $50, $100, and started business. And that's where the whole microcredit is all about. Now you, with education and so on, can do much better with the bigger ventures and so on. And we give you equity. So not only microcredit gives a credit, now we had another branch providing equity. So you need a diversified system, bringing financial services to the poor people to change things. So finance is one, but there are many other things. That's the issue that I was mentioning. Thank you.
2025, we are declaring 10 university job seekers need not apply. Only those who want to become entrepreneurs will study with us.
Good. Thank you. That's a
we
good
are
idea.
already declared 2025, no job seekers will be given admission.
Absolutely. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm glad to hear that.
And I'll speak with you and we'll work out 1 million entrepreneurs.
We'll work out. Definitely we'll work out something important.
Your life starts now.
Okay, let's do it together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for
Thank
you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you. It's
Thank you
great
so
to
much,
talk
sir,
to you
for
and continue to work together.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Raj Singh,
Sir,
get ready for 1 million entrepreneurs, our vision.
I think he reiterated our thoughts, and I think we can start with much more vigor and confidence.
Yeah,
from today
every
onwards,
student should do a 1 million turnover. They should earn 75 lakhs and
I
they are empowered. That's all.
I was
No
thinking
job
this-
seekers is that slavery.
I was thinking these 4,000 groups of 5 students each. Many
Yeah.
of them would like to join the.
In my opening session, I met solopreneurs. So
Absolutely.
you just don't require any capital, family, friends, and well-wisher, and you do a turnover of $1 million. And we will teach. We'll show them the way this year on. September 1st, we'll launch.
Absolutely. I did mention yesterday to the students and everybody.
Very good, very good, very good. Yesterday, and unfortunately, my father had to be hospitalized, so I couldn't.
Came to know about it. So I hope he's well now. Yes.
He's now improved. Good. I'm happy students have understood that entrepreneurship is the future.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a good sign, Professor Mohammed Yunus come.
Right.
At 80 years, imagine his energy and his knowledge.
I think he so succinctly mentioned about the concept of entrepreneurship and what universities should do.
Myself and Mohammed, ourselves, Jain University and Mohammed Yunus are joining for a 1 million entrepreneurship vision, which he's going to come somewhere on October, and we will unleash these ideas with our students.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyhow, we already planned that we will use it after this session, after September. Oh, I think continue next session, Varsha.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So on behalf of Center for Management Studies, Jain Team to be University, I convey my heartfelt gratitude for Mohammed Yunus for accepting our invitation and giving us his valuable time and consideration in spite of his busy schedule. Having him with us really has been a dream come true. It's been an absolute privilege and honor to listen to his session. And it's been a
kind of lifetime moment for all of us, not only for us, but for thousands of viewers who've been watching us. And now I would, at this particular point of time when the entire ambience is filled, the magnetic aura of Professor Muhammad Yunus, we wish to continue the same vibe for our next session as well. And on this note, I would like to invite Professor Raghu N to introduce our speaker for the current session. Over to Professor Raghu.
PK Gupta Sahab is there already?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Welcome, sir. Thank you so
Welcome,
much
sir.
for accepting our invitation. I think it's been quite some time we are seeing each other. Thank you so much for
Yes,
being with us.
great to see you, sir. Thanks a lot for inviting
Namaskar,
me.
PK Gupta ji. Namaskar.
Gupta Sahab, Chancellor Dr. Chendraj Roychand is there with you.
Namaskar, sir. It's an honor to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for invite.
और
Thank you, sir.
आपकी स्माइल ही सबको एनर्जाइज कर देगी आज.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Let's continue. Oh, yeah. And now it's time to introduce us the next speaker of the session, Mr. PK Gupta. Mr. Pushpendra Kumar Gupta has over 36 years of experience in the IT industry. He is a global CTO and global architects lead for Global Alliances, Dell EMC, based out in Silicon Valley, USA. He has also been in capacity of global pre-sales lead for data production solutions, senior director, specialty pre-sales, director, product marketing, product management, and director of engineering, as well as visiting professor in India for many years in various institutions such as Amity Business School, AIMA, IMT, IEC, and JIMS. He has also been on international advisory boards in few Indian, Singapore, and Malaysian universities. He is an international speaker on storage management, cloud, big data, disaster recovery, IoT, data production, and privacy regulations, along with cybersecurity. Many of his technical management articles have also got published in various international magazines. He is also a founder and chairman emeritus for SNAA India, that is Storage Networking Industry Association, and SNAA South Asia. He has been nominated to join SNAA Global Board of Directors to represent Dell EMC, and also been co-chair for Data Protection and Privacy Committee, DPPC, for SNAA Global. He received SNAA Industry Impact Award and SNAA by International and APJ EMC President Leadership Award. Also got nominated for President Club 10 times in the last 14 years. Great to have you, sir. He was induced into Dell EMC DPS Hall of Fame and awarded Global Elite Leadership Golden Jacket. Recently, he received Mighty Mentor Award in March 2021. We extend a warm welcome to you, sir, to deliver your talk. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for such a nice introduction. And it's been really a pleasure to be part of this event. Let me share my presentation quickly. And it's been great with Professor Raj Singh. I think we have almost 25 years relationship with Dr.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, we know each other. In fact, our sons also went together in Amity. Yes, so it's really my pleasure to be part of this invite. Can you see my presentation well? Let me make it full screen.
Yes, sir. We can see.
Okay. And let me know if something goes wrong, or just let me know on the chat, or you can call me on my mobile if there is a voice issue or anything happens at any time. So good afternoon, or I would say good evening, everyone. And if anybody is from US like me or anywhere else, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for inviting me to this great event. In next 45 minutes or so, I'll be talking about emerging trends in various industries. What are the research and career opportunities in this data decade, I would call, which started from especially last year. And I am sitting in the Silicon Valley. I'm seeing all those trends, and I work with customers and partners on a daily basis. So really very active in some of these opportunities. This is the quick agenda for next 45 minutes. Apart from introducing the topic, talking about the data growth, digital transformation, what are these technologies? And it's very tough to cover everything in 45 minutes, but I'll try to do as much justice as possible. And then I will talk about more how it matters to you next 5 years, 10 years,
where is this world going and how the industries are impacting, especially the post-COVID era, how it will be, and then we will have time for a Q&A. So first and foremost, take care of yourself, take care of your families and friends, keep the spirits high. This time will pass and we'll bounce back. I know we are already talking about wave 3, so, but stay safe with the COVID variant, Delta virus. And I know from yesterday, we are again in lockdown in the US, and the masks are back and all that, even with vaccination of 78% in California. We have to wear mask and everything, and I think same happening in India. So the next decade is about 7 Ds. Disease, it's not going away so easily. So we need to get used to it. And as Singapore says that they will be treating it as a normal flu. But we need to be very, very careful. The deals, the relationships between the countries, China, US, China, India, China, all those things will be seen how they perform and how it impacts the global economy. And the debt deficit is huge. Like in the US alone, the government has taken a $6 trillion debt, 2 trillion each 3 times in last 18 months, right? So how it will impact, although right now markets are doing very well, things going very well. Hopefully the trend continues. The democratic elections in many countries, elections are coming, how they will play out. Diversity as inclusion. Inclusion is a big theme, especially what happened in US last year with Lloyd case. But every country is focusing on diversity and inclusion, has certain goals that women should be this much part of the leadership team so it's a very good initiative happening in every organization, and I'm part of few of the D&I initiatives, Women in Action program and all in my organization. Decarbonization, sustainability, green gas and all those things are a big talk of the town. Every country, every company is setting up targets for carbon, and so water, ice, all that will be important. And the last, which is the topic of today, is about the digital transformation, which is at its peaks. As Satya Nadella said last year, that 10-year worth of innovation has happened in 1 year. And that is true. Actually, some of the things, technologies, which I will talk about in the next few minutes, have really major life-changing impact in the coming time. So the next industrial revolution, or as we call it, Industry 4.0, which we started talking in last couple of years, but it's really happening right now. Although the industrial revolution started almost 240 years back with the steam engine invention, and then we went into mass production manufacturing with railroads. Then we went into electronic era with the ICs and all that. But today it's about the physical virtual systems, IoT and cloud technologies, automating complex tasks and IT systems. Every day you see so many things, startups coming up. Just for AI, artificial intelligence alone, there are 8,500 plus startups, and every day there are few startups. In last couple of months, $60 billion funding has gone in AI startups. So a lot is happening in that area. The technology is really changing every industry. The economy is going digital, and as IDC puts it, global GDP will be 65% in digital form by 2022, and software and data is really going to provide the competitive edge. So from our perspective, from professors, for students, for us, this is very, very important. I did my software engineering in 1985. I was one of the first computer science engineers in India. And at that time, it was primarily hardware, but it's so heartening to see now that software is eating the world, and data growth is going amazingly at amazing speed, and how we can, with the power of data, getting the insights through the software is going to change the whole world. As we call it, success means delivering digital services powered by data, running in a multi-cloud world. It's no more just one public cloud, or it's going to be hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. Most of the customers I talk to use 3 to 5 different clouds today. 10 years back in 2010, 2011, IDC popularized a word called COMS, which is cloud, open source, mobile, big data, and social decade. So that was the last decade. What we are going to see in this decade starting last year is dance. And you know, in India, we all love to dance. We just look for opportunities to dance, whether it's a party on Friday evening or Saturday or wedding or birthday party or whatever. So if you don't remember anything from this presentation, your future is dance. So keep dancing. That means data, algorithms, which is AI, ML, DL, all those things, networks, cloud, and extreme compute. And you will see in the coming slide how that makes it different. Timing is everything. What makes this timing so different is that in last 70 years of computing history, the cost of compute have gone down tremendously. What mainframe did in 60s and 70s, now you can do that multiple times on your iPhone or your Samsung mobile. At the same time, amount of data growth has gone tremendously up. And that's why we call it inverse conditions enabling the possibilities. I remember in 1981, our college got a 10 MB hard drive, which was $10,000, a refrigerator size, 10 platters of 2 MB each. But if you look at today, you buy 5 terabyte hard drive in Costco here for $90. In fact, I just bought one recently. It was $129, $30 rebate. So at $90, I get 5 terabyte small pocket size drive. I can keep it in my pocket. So we have gone from mainframe era to mini computers, to PCs, to desktop, to mobile internet. And now we are entering into data era. And like Professor Raj Singh and many of you professors, you have seen, you have been part of the PC. I started first sat down, whole engineering, it was on mainframes. We never sat on a computer. First time I sat on a PC was in August 85 when I joined the organization. And first time I sat on a computer which had a 10 MB hard drive, built-in 5¼ floppy drive, and 64 KB RAM in it. But if you look at today on your laptops, you are carrying terabytes of drive in your laptop, flash drive, and then 32 or 64 GB hard disk. So this is what is happening. And this is not about just one technology. It's about combination of technologies which are making difference. It's like 1 + 1 = 3, or 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. And the data growth is amazing. In 2020, we talk about 44 zettabyte data was created, but IDC just revised their forecast this year. Earlier, they were saying by 2025, there will be 163 zettabyte data. Actually, it is going to be 175 zettabyte data. So COVID has really accelerated the growth, and technologies at changing at every layer. If you look at users, it's not just about people, it's human-machine interface, HMI, right? Machines, AI bots, so many, it's not tomorrow. I would say I should correct that. Actually, so many companies already implementing those bots. If you look at Olympics, and if you are watching that, Japan is demonstrating probably one of the best usage of how robots and AI and bots will play a role. The user experience from websites to now AR, VR, next generation of iPhone probably will have AR, VR built into it. AR, VR is one technology which I'll talk about in coming slides, but it has really picked up as a result of lockdowns and people were not able to travel. How do you train people? How do you maintain the machineries in the sites and all that? So remote field monitoring and rectification, all those things, applications, data management, orchestration, network, storage, compute, everything compute. It's not just about x86, GPUs, VPUs, TPUs, DPUs, FPGAs. So many accelerators have come in to make your life better. It's amazing the way technology is changing. So by 2030, this human-machine partnership will be much deeper, richer, and immersive. It's not about that, okay, the robots will eat up our job. Yes, there will be changes in the job situation. Some of the jobs which are not there today will be changed in last 5 years itself. If you look at how many jobs, almost 80% plus jobs have changed requirements. So by 2030, depending on what analysts you look at, somebody talks about 125 billion devices connected. Some talk about 200 billion devices connected, but it's going to be plethora of devices. 1 trillion transducers will be there by 2030. And all of them, what are they doing? They are creating they are generating the data at the edge, which all needs to be stored, analyzed, protected. So probably best jobs will be related to data, and I'll talk about a little more in the coming slide. 50% of the cars will be driverless. Just I think 2 days back, Elon Musk said that by end of this year, they will probably reach to level 5 of autonomous driving, which is very bold because right now we are at 2.5. Decoding a human genome will cost just $1, which used to cost $100,000 and all. Now it's in 1,000 range and it's going to be $1 and it will take 94 seconds to do that. AI will be capable of cognitive intelligence, dramatically changing this methodology, the work scenario. By 2030, more and more personal medical interpretation will be there. You will get according to your disease, personalized medication. It's already there actually in some form, but expensive, but in 10 years, it will become available for the common man, human technology integration specialists, and COVID really accelerated a lot of it. You won't believe 1.2 million research papers came in 2020. So you can assume every second there is like 1 or 2 research paper coming, and so many of them are in a healthcare industry. So it's really big. Self-driving car mechanics, 2030 skills will be more contextualized intelligence, in the moment learning. It's like instant, right? You will have probably a chip implant. Already we have experiment in San Francisco going on, in Sweden, a couple of places where they have implanted the chip inside, or they have put a small transparent sticker kind of thing, and you can open the doors, you can pay, and all those things, right? So automation, literacy, entrepreneurial mindset will be needed, and personal brand will be cultivated. So a lot of change happening in the education industry. We are really at the start of the digital era, as I call it. And if we compare our data universe with our universe, like in universe, you got 8 planets. Similarly, in our digital universe, we have these 8 planets, which are really transforming the whole industry. You start with search. If you look at Google, how much happens on Google? Google is handling 6 billion plus researches every day. Monetization, Facebook is a good example. They don't anything, they don't own anything. They leverage your data and make money out of it, right? If you look at YouTube, 49 years of worth of videos just get uploaded every day. If you talk about Instagram, has 1 billion plus users and 100 million plus photographs are uploaded every day. So all the data needs to be managed, needs to be searched, need to be protected, need to have some governance around it. And other is security and privacy. One of the biggest concern today is security and privacy of the data of the people, personalities and all that. And of course, the sustainability. How do we make sure that we make our planet sustainable, and what technologies we can use? Every company is having a sustainability goal for 2030, 2040, 2050 for carbon emission and many other things. So if you look at it from the technology perspective, then what are the technologies playing in this? Are IoT, Internet of Things, I talked about, so many 200 billion devices connected, trillion transducers, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So there's a big force changing. 85% of the industries or work will be impacted by 2030 with AI, ML, DL, robotics. And if you have watched in Japan Olympics, the robot throwing the ball, amazing accuracy from the 3 different distances. Watch that video, it's amazing. Accelerator forces with the FPGAs, GPUs, CPUs, DPUs, all those things. AI, then augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, extended reality. Some of the cool serials, if you want to watch on Amazon Prime and Netflix, some of the good guys are there. Watch them if you get time. Blockchain is going to, India alone has like 300 plus startups in blockchain. Edge core cloud, it's not just about cloud or not about the data center. I'll talk about how edge is going to transform in the coming time and how much data will be generated at the edge. So it's about edge, what will stay at the edge, what will be at the core data center, and what will go to the cloud. 5G is completely transforming the way things are going. In India also, trials are starting. And of course, the quantum computing is becoming more and more reality. We have been talking about quantum computing for ages, but it's coming to reality now. So let's get into the technology part of things. With the artificial intelligence, why we are talking about now so much, it's been there for 70 years. In fact, I did my first ADA AI programming in 1982 in my second year engineering, but we were not talking about for last 40 years so much. But why now? Because the data is the foundation of AI, and the amount of data we have available now, it can be used for those modeling and making inferences and all that. And the new infrastructure which is there from Intel, NVIDIA, and AMD and others, which is with the GPUs, CPUs, all the accelerators, faster compute and storage, a lot of things we make in Dell. And then, of course, the advances, AI advances, which are available in modeling and algorithms, and people like you who are doing so much research and algorithms. And this is the big area for all of you to do the research and come up with more and more innovation from India, get some patents, write some white papers and technology. So we are at the really a tipping point of AI. The whole next decade is about AI. 90% plus companies are thinking about AI in business in different forms. So the companies are investing in it. It's, as I said, 8,500 plus startups in AI alone. And every day I talk to some people, my friends here, and I hear from my friends, some of them have left jobs, started their own companies and getting the funding. Funding is available in Silicon Valley a lot. And this is really a 38% CAGR growth. I would say even this forecast is a little old. I would say at least 50 to 60% CAGR growth in last 12 to 18 months after COVID. This has really taken a big leap. And from the taxonomy perspective, you can see there are many areas for research and innovation. If you look at from the artificial intelligence, it's not just one big topic. Under that, there are a lot of things, as you can see, genetic algorithms, robotics, expert systems. I did expert systems in my third year in 83, 84, right? But now this is all coming. Speech recognition, if you look at some of the benchmark, which Microsoft and all, they are reaching to 98, 99% accuracy. And so many applications these days allow you to speak, right? So natural language processing and gaming is big area, autonomous vehicles, and then machine learning, deep learning, semantic technology, rule engines. This is one of the core slides, I would say, is when you get time later on, you can see which area you want to invest more time, you want to do some more research into this area, and then how it is impacting. So that's more theoretical side of it, but this side is a practical side of how this AI ML is demanding the technology. If you're just talking about simple AI, right, structured data, it's a small, you just need 1 GB concurrent calculations, 100. But as you move on to machine learning, you need hundreds of cores. When you move to deep learning, you need thousands or 10,000s of core, and you need high throughput and a lot of concurrent calculation. So these kind of things are available now. They were not available 5-10 years before. So that's why this is picking up. Every industry you look at from the use cases perspective, whether it is healthcare. In fact, one of the projects we just announced 2 months back is I2B2 Trans, which is for COVID long haul research on 12 years to 28 years of people. What is going to be the long-term impact of COVID? Right now, nobody knows. It's just a research, but now people are seeing the people who got the COVID getting impacted after 4 months, 5 months, their calcium level going 3 times, 4 times, they're having some spine problems, all those. So now people are starting to see the people who got the COVID and recovered at that time, but what is the impact after so many months? Every day I am seeing in my personally in my family as well, and my friend's family, how they are getting impacted. And like one of my friend, I was talking to him yesterday in New Jersey, his wife got COVID in January, and last 3 months she recovered, but she's been on the bed for 3 months now because one leg is not moving, and it's all after COVID impact. So financial services, fraud prevention, risk management. I would say you will see the next slide, almost 50% of banking industry already using AI to great extent. Public sector for facial recognition, especially if you look at with COVID, all the facial recognition, thermal vision, whether you are wearing the mask or not, in the malls and in the offices, as we go back to universities and offices, whether you are maintaining the social distancing and all or not, in the conference rooms and all. Lot of things happening in that area. Then retail is completely transforming right now. We are working with some of the world's largest retailers, how they are changing the experience. They want, while more and more people are buying online, they are now trying to get the people back to the stores, and what kind of innovation happening there with curbside pickup and all those things, right? Energy sector is transforming. Energy in next 10 years is a $10 trillion market, especially just for utilities. The grid modernization, substation modernization happening there, transport, autonomous vehicles, connected vehicles. You will see some numbers in the coming slide. Manufacturing, smart factory, industry 4.0, the biggest market for that is smart factories. They are transforming in hundreds and thousands, becoming smart, how the IT and OT part is coming together. And of course, travel and hospitality industry was hit hard during COVID. They lost almost 90% of their revenue, but they are coming back and changing the experience and all those things. This is just one example how AI is being used in finance. Again, it's a 1-year-old data, but you can see they are using it a lot for the digital security, data security, fraud detection, customer service, compliance. Those are the top usage, but there are many, many other usage how AI is being used in the finance area. And this is very important from your perspective. What is the most significant barrier for adoption of AI? It's not enough skilled resources. And that's where universities can play a big role in terms of research, in terms of educating the future students. So we need more and more. There's a huge dearth, and that's why probably the best salaries right now is for data scientists and data engineers and AI skills in the market today. Almost anybody student I know right now is doing whatever engineering they did, the masters, they are doing it data science or AI and all those things. So definitely that's a big future area, and accessing and preparing the data. The budgets are less, but people are prioritizing AI spend. But skills is one big area for research and development. And why I kept this slide, just to show you the cycle of data science, how it starts. And that's where, again, we need help from Dr. Raj Singh and from universities that pick up the real problems from the industry, look at those business problems. You have a lot of resources, and do some data science, look at that from the data science perspective, do some research in that area, collaborate with industry, and then come up with the algorithm solutions, and then that which helps the business solution. So you also, it's a win-win situation for universities and industry together. And it's not just artificial intelligence, what we are talking about. In fact, there is a fantastic book which is named with the same name, Intelligent Automation. If you get time, read it. It's basically a combination of AI and automation. This is what is really changing every business, every sector in this economy. Basically, these intelligent automation systems sense and then synthesize vast amount of information that can automate the whole process from start to end, workflows, learning, adoption, and then keep modifying it. So AI is really becoming the key enabler for every other technology. So we say now at a higher level that IT is mother of all industries. And within that, if we come, AI is becoming the mother to all other technologies, whether it's AR, VR, which is transforming the workforce in the coming time, Internet of Things, leveraging the power of Industry 4.0, multi-cloud for optimizing the supply chain, value chain, and of course, high performance computing, making the products virtually better. And digital twin, this technology is there for 20 years. It didn't pick up. What happened during the COVID, this is another technology which really picked up. It's a virtual representation of a real life physical products. In India, there are I was seeing a case study of one of this shipping corporation. They have adopted digital twin, and some of the smart cities are adopting to digital twin, construction industry, and many examples. Manufacturing is probably the biggest one. This is an interesting area to work and learn and create some intellectual property in India. It's going to be a big market in next few years, growing at a 37% CAGR. And then some of the interesting use cases in every industry, whether it is healthcare, whole genomics, and this is where as a person, your digital twin can be created, and they can analyze and they can come up, hey, that's what some of the projects are happening, looking at the data, and I'll cover in the coming slides a little bit more, how there will be personalized medication for you, and how they can predict that, hey, if you don't take care of these things, you will have this problem in the coming time. Manufacturing is big, industrial automation, quality compliance, predictive maintenance, and we are already having some of those solutions today. Energy, utility, retail, creating the whole digital twin of the store in advance to test everything with the sensors and everything, how it will look like, what customers will like, what they will not like. Transportation, digital cities, 100 cities in India are getting smart digital cities. Quite a few we are involved from our side in those areas. Why all that is becoming important? Because the data gravity is changing. Today, 10% of the data is being created at the edge, and 90% is traditional data centers or in the cloud. But by 2025, that balance is going to shift, and you can see that 75% of the data will be created at the edge and 25% in the centralized data center or in the cloud. So the whole in next 5 years, the whole dynamics is going to change with all the wearables, which the Apple Watch and other things we wear, all the IoT devices and autonomous cars, they are all going to create ton of data. So from the definition perspective, the edge exists wherever the digital world and physical world intersect, and the data is securely generated, collected, and processed to create new value. So that's a very big transformation area if you look at especially from manufacturing perspective, because 30%, almost I would say 32% of the edge market is for manufacturing, where IT and OT are coming together and creating an intelligent edge under smart factories. So edge is another area for universities to look at how you can help with research and job creation. Industry-wise also, if you look at, there is a huge uptake in every industry, and I'm working on quite a few of these projects with various partners and customers. And connected mobility. This is a combination of the technologies I talked about so far, IoT, AI, and 5G is next slide I'll be talking about, but emerging future of transportation, all that connected vehicles and autonomous driving and how it will ramp up is going to be very, very big, and how mobility is changing that. It's been like, some of you probably were not even born in 98 when we used to use Blackberries and all those devices with 2G, right, with the small Nokia phones. That was basically started changing the world. We could check our emails while traveling or anywhere from mobile and answer those. In fact, I worked in 94, 95, 96 on Apple Newton and some of the handheld devices which did not really click at that time. And we used to just work on 8 kbps modem. And if we will get just one header on our device, we used to just shout and have celebrations. So I have worked on, I would say, like 1G technologies as well. But then we came into 3G, which was voice, data, and application, which changed the business. We went from SMS to MMS and all those things. And then came 4G, where we are today, right? We changed the culture of with the social media and all. And now we have entered into 5G era, which is changing the world. The applications are tremendous. And in next few years, 5G will completely transform the things. Why we are talking about so much in this data era about 5G? Because this is really transformative. Faster data rate, 10 times, higher device density, reduced latency, which autonomous cars and all need so that they don't collide when they are on the streets. And of course, the high speed, right? So some of the applications which we are seeing early adopters are adopting in entertainment, in energy utility, retail, transport, healthcare, public safety, manufacturing, and automotive. You will be interested to see this slide, that how 5G is going to help out in autonomous industry, and from the data perspective and from analytics and research perspective, how it's changing. Today, in the trials, when they are doing all these trials on the road, each car goes 8 a.m. in the morning, comes back 8 p.m. in the night. In 12 hours, it's creating about 40 to 70 terabytes a day. That much data at the edge in the car. They put 80 terabyte drives in the car, in the dashboard, and they take out that cage and for analytics. So because today it's 4G, they don't have the technology to transfer the data. And so tomorrow that is going to be about 250 plus terabytes a day per car, right? So if take an example, in 10 years time, if one automaker has 40 million cars on the street in next 10 years, it will be a 7 zettabyte data, just one manufacturer. And how many people it will take? 1 million admins to keep the lights on. So that's where the automation and artificial intelligence will play a big role. Next technology I'm talking about is AR, VR, MR, which is really taking to the next step, how it is happening. I'm sure in India also you may be seeing some AR, VR, arcade games rooms where 4 people go into the room, put the headset, backpack on the back, and then fight with each other, or you feel you are part of that game. That is why AR, VR becoming so big now, although this is an older technology, the cost prohibition was there, but now it's coming within the reach of common people. Understand the power of AR, VR, right? Whatever we listen, we only retain 20%. Whatever we see, we retain 30%. But what we experience, that's why people travel to countries. Otherwise, you can do everything on your computer and you can Google it and find it out. But experience is very important. And that's what you retain 90% of what you experience. And that's because the natural way of learning is 3D. The real world is 3D. Our eyes, brains give us a 3D picture of the world. Traditional data is based largely on text and 2D. So abstract thinking required to turn that information to the reality world, structure, function, and 3D images. That's why 3D is another good area to look at from research and learning perspective. And this is all about immersive experience. And there are 3 things you need to remember. AR is basically augmented reality, which is real world with digital information over it. There are so many apps. You go to Harvard site, you download their app, clip it. There are so many. There is an app which you click a picture and you can just move it, your mobile to your laptop, and the picture gets transferred onto your laptop, and you can do multiple things with it, right? Then comes extended reality, which is real and virtual are intertwined. And then comes the VR, virtual reality, which is complete digital experience. If you have watched Mission Impossible and many other movies, they show those things, right? You really are into it. You put that head-mounted glass and you are in that world, you are in that country, or whatever you are looking at. So this is going to be very, very transformative. It's going to make a $1.5 trillion impact in 2030, while AI is going to make a $15.7 trillion impact in next 10 years. AR, VR is also going to make a $1.5 trillion impact in next 10 years. So huge area to work together, huge growth in last 12 to 18 months in this area, almost 100% increase every year. And you may see some of these already. So AR, VR, wearables, and exoskeletons, you have that glove and augmented human capabilities on the shop floor. Many, many use cases, examples coming in different industries. We are seeing growth again, as I said, manufacturing, transportation, entertainment, media, healthcare, huge examples. Like a very good example I saw with one of the partner last week was where they do the MRI and they do all the research on that. They put that AR, VR camera on the headset and then pen on the head, and then they move that to the person's head, and all the things what they found out without even opening anything in the head, they can really see where to do what was the problem. So it has really amazingly changed things moving forward, and blockchain is really integrating supply and contract manufacturing. Computer vision is really gone to the next level. We have been in that area for 20 plus years, but this has really accelerated with AI, blockchain, quickly identifying problem, taking the actions. This is an example of a train station. This is, I would say, I saw this 3 years back when I was in Korea on the station, how people were using, but it has gone to the next level now. You can do almost everything touchless with the AI, weather, data, frictionless commerce. Like here, you may have seen last week, Amazon just announced that, hey, to get your fingerprints, they will be giving $10 per fingerprint because they want to go to touchless shopping. You just, you buy whatever you are buying, you scan your basket, put your thumb, and your payments are all done, right? So frictionless shopping. This world is moving in amazing direction. Thermal vision in last 12 to 18 months, this has been adopted at the airports, at securities, in offices, in universities to enter, to find whether what is your body temperature. It's not getting into the privacy issues. It's just making sure that the person body temperature is right, social distance is maintaining, they are having the mask, otherwise automatically triggers the alarm to the security that, hey, come and take this guy out of the mall or office or whatever, right? Healthcare is big. So now I will go to the last part of the presentation in next 10 minutes, talking about universities, talking about how universities and students can play a role for the industry, what's happening in the industry. Healthcare is the biggest one, almost creating average amount of data generated is almost 10 petabytes per healthcare. And this is a huge with IoT and healthcare industry. Healthcare is probably generating the world's largest volume of data, and the number of digital devices interaction is on the rise. You can almost get everything which is IoT enabled, all the components for your dresses today. Look at this chart, whether clinical data, each time you talk about clinical data, 50 MB per person. Normal tissue DNA, 200 GB, right? And tumor DNA, 200 GB, tumor RNA, 10 GB. Huge data is being generated with everything becoming digital, amount of data being generated. So total data per patient today is about 2 to 5 terabyte. And then you create a backup copy of it and third copy of it. Huge growth in medical data. And you can look at how much transformation has happened with respect to technologies. If somebody did a brain scan in 1971, that's the picture on the left it was. But today in 50 years, so much have changed that in 2021, we can exactly identify looking at picture, where is the tumor, right? So technology advancements have gone in, but amount of data which gets captured now in 50 years is amazing. And that's where all the technologies with multi-cloud interoperability, because of the compliance regulations and precision medicine, individualized medicine, security is big. So many in last 12 to 18 months, 400 to 500% increase in ransomware attacks in hospitals. So cybersecurity is very important because it impacts the human life. People will pay money to get their data back or whatever was encrypted or wiped out, right? So huge transformation happening in all the area of healthcare, whether it is connected health, or if you look at just the wearables on Apple Store, the download of healthcare related apps went from 18% to 80%. Right, so almost everybody is downloading healthcare apps. Manufacturing is a lot of innovation is accelerating in manufacturing with robotics, AI, ML, AR, VR, mobile networks, material science is amazing. If you just search on internet, what you can do with the material science today, amazing things happening with the 3D printing. People are printing homes, bridges with 3D printers, right? So really hardware acceleration has happened, and the energy storage, how long your battery will last and all those things. Similarly, the finance, going from digital solutions to business solutions, transformation happening in commercial market, cooperative, retail, fintech, capital markets, everywhere. And universities, you guys see that more than me. I'm sitting 10,000 miles away, but I'm very, very sure you guys are part of it in some ways with all the IoT thing happening with the smart campuses and research and the data-driven world. I'm sure a lot of projects you are working on and research you are doing is related to next generation, what's coming up, but probably my presentation gave you a little bit more awareness where the world is going. And last thing to talk about retail industry, it's really about personalization. It's really about giving the customer experience so that they come back to the store, or even if they are buying online, they come to store and buy things. So next generation of stores are adopting big thing on IoT and artificial intelligence, voice assistance, frictionless shopping, with all kind of use cases coming, the loss prevention, because what has happened is in COVID, as more and more self-service chaos came in, the theft doubled. So if the losses were 2% before, they went to 4%. And when we talk about billions of dollars, it's a huge loss for the people, because people putting expensive item below the cheap item. They scan cheap item and below is a expensive item, and they carry that. And sometimes they swap the label. So with the computer vision, with the artificial intelligence, there are technologies now implemented in many stores which catch those kind of cases and raise the alarm and ask the security guy to come in. Right, it's reducing spoilage in the back end, frictionless experience, and smart buildings, energy efficiency. All this is happening. This is how the intelligent store of the future will look like. And it's not, I'm saying it's not like Star Trek, which influenced my life 40 years or 45 years back when I used to see in black and white in India in 70s, and that got me into computers. But this is the intelligent store, and it's already happening. We are doing pilot with few of the retailers here in US, and this is being implemented as we speak right now with augmentation reality, virtual point of sale, immersive experience, employee training, because employees get exhausted in retail stores. So how do we make their experience better, not just the customer experience better? And last topic is the cyber attacks. While the data is going so big and we are in the digital economy, digital data era, hackers are there, and people say in the past used to say, hey, why do robbers rob the bank? Because that's where the money is. So in the today's world with the digital economy, why the hackers are there? Because that's where the money is. Everything is the digital form. So ransomware attacks have gone up hundreds of times. You'll see in the next slide some of the impact numbers, how fast these cyber attacks are happening. Some of the recent attacks, which like Colonial Pipeline, for example, which happened in May, 2 months back, impacted 5,500 miles distance, 17 states, business was shut down and all that happened, right? Solar wind was another one early this year, which was a major supply chain impact. Then Kasia happened a few days back, which impacted 1,500 customers. But at the same time, they are being caught also and being penalized. FBI is after them. This slide just gives you some real numbers for 2021. Number of attacks, ransomware, cyber attacks have gone down from 39 seconds a minute to 11 seconds a minute. Economic impact is almost in 2021 $6 trillion if not taken correctly with cybercrime. Number of breaches have gone up. The average cost of cybercrime has gone up per industry. On the right side, you can see some of the numbers for how much it cost industry if the breach happens, if the cyber attack happens. This is big, as you can see. It's a huge. In fact, I saw that this year, 2021, in fact, it could be more than 187. This forecast was last year forecast, but this year forecast has gone up. I think it will be like $150 billion market this year. So cybersecurity is definitely one area for all of you to do research and learn. And this is the ISNIA view, how security is looked at. Security is not one thing. If you look at privacy and information security, under that you've got personal data protection, you got cybersecurity, and overlapping to that is the ethics is very important to worry about, especially with the AI, the bias and ethics come into the picture. So to summarize this part, definitely if you look at the right side of this slide, limited security resources, 3.5 million people are needed by next year to fill the labor shortage in cybersecurity area. So another area for research. To close, as Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So start changing. In last 45 minutes, what I shared, if you learned something, start changing, start learning, start experimenting, start researching. What you do, keep the customers in mind, see how you can put the story together, how you can message what you are learning, keep improving, keep developing your talent, keep innovating, and work as a team. What industry needs is team players, not the individualistic person who just care for themselves. Adopt to the culture, what's happening, best thing you can do, be a leader, create your own personal brand, that is more important. And be curious. So people are talking about not just IQ and EQ, they are talking about CQ now. So you need to look at IQ, EQ, and CQ as a triangle to grow yourself. And in the end, mindset, have a positive mindset, what you can do, how you can contribute to this world, and have fun. If you're not having fun, change what you are doing. Thanks a lot. I think I finished in 45 minutes.
Yes, sir.
On
Thank
dot,
you.
on dot.
Thank you very much, sir, for such an engaging discussion and enlightening us with your thoughts on AI becoming enabler in the emerging technology and leading towards next industrial revolution and the digital future. We have a lot of questions. So with your permission, I'll go ahead with the first question for today.
Sure.
The first question is from Mr. Siddhant Hazra. When 100 million photos are uploaded every day, then we can imagine the quantity of trash data in the cloud or otherwise. How do we manage this and retain useful data for faster access and relevant usage?
Very, very good question. And I can relate that to even a connected car example I used. Whatever data that 40 terabyte or 70 terabyte data each car is producing, only 10 to 15% of the data is useful. So that's where the analytics comes into the picture, analytics at the edge. So what is happening, and some of the algorithms and all, we are working and seeing that we analyze that and only send what is relevant. So AI ML along with the analytics is going to play a big role in reducing that garbage. So you are absolutely right. After those 100 million photos and all which we upload, probably 80–90% are useless. And take a very simple personal example. You go on a trip, you take in a day 100 pictures. Half of them are useless, but do you delete them? I can bet very few people really delete those pictures. You still keep, hey, I will modify it, or I'll use some filter to correct that picture. You still keep all those 100 pictures, although you know that only 50% are good pictures. So analytics is going to play a big role in those situations, and definitely a lot of automation and the tools which are being developed to manage that. That's what I said. All this data which is being created needs to be stored, need to be protected, need to be accessed, need to be analyzed. Today, people say only 3% of the world data is being analyzed. 97% of the data is not being analyzed today. So that's a huge market available from research, from the job perspective.
Thank you very much.
Here also we're predictably irrational. We keep storing it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. Joseph Brenton. Will digital experience be for the rich, or by when can we expect the poor to afford hologram and virtual reality, sir?
Yes, so it's coming. It's coming, and especially with a lot of research going on in last 12 to 18 months, and remote working and hybrid working, and people not being allowed to travel. I'm stuck in US for 2 years. I made my last trip in September, and I need to see my family in India and my kids. My kids are also all out, daughter in Singapore and my mother in India and son in UK. We are a global family. I've not seen them for 2 years. So that's where these things will happen. The digital experience is coming down. If you look at the HoloLenses, and very soon Microsoft is releasing the next HoloLens, and Facebook is releasing the next version 3 of the Focus. We got just last week, my AR VR guy told me he just got his kit from Microsoft to test. It's amazing. From the resolution perspective, for feedback, the cost is coming down. It's much lesser than what it was 2 years back, I would say. So some of these technologies will be available, pay as you go model. So you won't have to spend $2,000 on a HoloLens. You can just buy, you can pay for an hour or 30 minutes, what do you want to experience, and that's it. So I would say that cost, the whole model going as a service at Google, and you will find everything as a service available, A to Z, right? So all these things with the business models changing, this experience will change, and cost will change. It will be available to the common man. Today, I agree, the costs are high. For example, if you look at the headset, it's like $2,000. Probably the lowest one you will get is like $1,000 or $1,200. But this is coming down, with especially with as a service model. This will be available to common man, like simply you use everything else today. So I'm saying in few months or within this year, you will see the change. I'm seeing that personally, and I've been involved in some of those projects.
Thank you very much, sir, for those insights. Our next question is from Mr. Sresh Podar, and he asks, What is your opinion on the global technology chain help bridging the income gap in developing countries like India? Or will it scratch the current disk of job holders in India?
Very, very good question. And it comes up in many forums. I cannot predict what will happen, but yes, I do see it is causing the digital divide between rich and poor. But at the same time, you see, with respect to my previous answer as well, that these technologies are making field level for everybody. Even in the village now, people have access to all the things on their mobile phone. The person in the village may not have money to eat the food, but he had a very nice 4,000, 5,000 rupees smartphone, and he watches all the videos and uploads all the TikTok 30 seconds videos and all that. So those technologies are becoming available. But going back to your question, I personally feel, not anybody else view, that yes, it will create a digital divide more. The richer will become more richer. As you can see, last year in 12 to 18 months, while the poor became more poor and the richer became more, with the stock market doing so well, they made much more money than anybody else. The billionaires made more money than anybody else. And in fact, last week only I was reading a research which talked about in last 10 years, the impact, how many trillions the rich people have made, and how many trillions poor have gone down. So that will be the thing, unless people reskill, unless people invest in their learning. If for example, simple example, when you pass out this year or next year and you say, hey, I'm done with my 4-year work or a 2-year research master's and I don't need to learn anything, you are absolutely wrong, because the speed at which the technology is changing today, everything what you are learning, 25 to 40% is obsolete as soon as you pass out, within a few months. So if you're not updating yourself, if you're not skilling yourself, if you're not making learning as your lifelong learning part of your own personal development, you will be out of touch. You won't have a job. So it's all up to us. How do we reskill and invest into continuous learning ourselves?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We have a question from Mr. Shantanu Chakravarti. Could you explain the role of AI and machine learning in HR analytics, marketing analytics, and financial analytics?
Oh, fantastic question. I would say, go ahead and look at personality AI site. Okay, I just used it last week. And this app, HR people have started using actually even before they call you for interview. Take it from me that they are running personality AI on you. What it does, it goes in the back, looks at everything you have said on public forum, Instagram. So be careful, guys. Whatever you are doing on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, is every bit is being watched by somebody. The whole world is naked right now. Okay. So, and this application looks at every damn thing in the universe, whatever is accessible, and creates your personality. See, earlier we used to do DISC analysis, right? DISC for personality test and all that. You don't need to do that now. Just go to this site, type it in your name, and it will give you a fantastic 15-20 page report, whether you are DIS or C, or you are DNI, or you are D or S, what kind of job you will fit in. Amazing. I loved it. I did then last week, I did it for whole of my team, and this week I will be sharing with them. So it's complete innovation in HR, from the recruitment to basically the whole life cycle. Especially in organizations, the whole life cycle of employee is based on AI, ML analytics moving forward. The day you join the company, the day you move out of the company, whole thing is being tracked. It's amazing. I can spend an hour going through on each of those verticals, what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, very much, sir, for these insights. A question from Ms. Pooja Pravardhini. What difference can governments make to ensure IoT will be safe and secure? And is there a serious potential threat to governments and states?
Oh yeah, you saw my last part of my presentation, cybersecurity, right? That is the number one. If you ask any CEO or board of director what keeps them awake today, it's the security, right? we have seen like this colonial example, right? 17 states shut down. We have seen solar winds, 18,000 public and private sector companies were impacted, majorly government organization. So very good question. Cybersecurity is the major threat for the economy today. You saw $6 trillion impact, right? And this will be increasing day by day as we become more and more digital. So yes, governments can play a very big role in this area, providing the infrastructure, working with the private industry, working with the right players, and taking care of whatever they are putting online from security perspective, from privacy perspective. You see privacy becoming so big. Just last week, Zoom paid $85 million fine for not following the privacy, right? And I think one other vendor, I'm not sure it was Apple or it was Facebook, they were fined for $800 million for privacy case in Europe. So this security, privacy, very big concern, very big area to work at, look at.
Thank you, sir.
20,000 regulations, 20,000 regulations have come in last 10 years, 10 to 15 years.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is from Ms. Megha Kukreja. Can AI or ML be integrated in a blockchain? If so, for what purposes can it be done?
Oh yeah, you saw one of the slide which talked about that AI and blockchain are definitely integrating together, whether it's a smart contracts or in fact, it's being talked about in the security, digital security as well. So a lot of cases, there is no limit. I would say imagination is the only limit today. How you can combine, and the power is in the technology. Just if you talk about AI or you just talk about blockchain, not much use. Once you start integrating those 1 + 1, then it becomes 3, 5, 10, 20. It multiplies. This is the age of multiplication, not incremental changes. How do we make things 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x better? If you think in terms of increment, I will improve 5%, 10%, you are not needed in the industry.
Yes, right. So thank you. The last question for the day is from Ms. Kirtana. As rapid technological change opens up new possibilities, such as living in safer, more efficient, better organized environments, increasing productivity by automation and lifting people out of poverty by new entrepreneurship models, what kind of approaches can we adopt to maximize the benefits for all and minimize the downsides?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part again?
Yes, what kind of approaches can we adopt to maximize the benefits for all and minimize the downsides?
Yeah, it's again, going back to the mindset, whether you see those things yourself, you see those things as positively or negatively. For example, one of the question asks how the robotics and all will change the jobs or the rich poor divide. If you look at from negative aspect and say, hey, it's going to, I will not get a job, you will not. But if you think as a positive, take this as, okay, this is an opportunity. I need to improve myself. I need to do something for my society, need to do things for my country. Things will be better. So I would say it's a very individual thing and you need to do it. The environment is there. The opportunities are equally available. Internet has made these things level field for everybody. And especially with, as I said, as a service, pay as you go model, you just pay for what you use. Things are available for everybody, and you can make, it's only you. And I think I joined towards the end for Dr. Yu's presentation, and he was saying that you are the pilot of your flight. 120% agree with that. You are your own, you are responsible for your own career. And if you don't take care, teachers and us, we can only guide you, tell you do this, but if you don't do it, and you don't take those things seriously, positively, change your mindset, change your perspective, things will not change.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Now on this note, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Chancellor, Dr. Chain Raj Roychan, our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. N. Sundararajan, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Raj Singh, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ishwaran Iyer, Registrar, Dr. N.V.H. Krishnan, Director, Academic Planning, Professor Sridhara Murthy, and entire of Jain Dean to be University for developing an ecosystem that has transformed the society and contributed significantly towards its betterment. I thank our esteemed director, Dr. Dinesh Neelkan, Center for Management Studies, Jain Deemed to be University, for his overwhelming support and golden words of advices in our endeavors and for inspiring us with his mentorship and guidance. I'm extremely thankful to our keynote speakers, Nobel laureate Prof. Muhammad Yunus and Mr. P.K. Gupta, for giving us enriching insights about the concept of social responsibility in current day business world with ethical practices to be adopted at the management and the social level. My heartfelt thank to Mr. Arup Kumar Chatterjee for joining in. Our special thanks goes to Mr. Shabbir Ahmed and Mr. Naz Ahmed for making this event possible with their immense efforts. Thank you very much, everyone. Over to Dr. Shiva.
Dr. Shiva, for my permission
sir.
to just speak for a few seconds.
Sure, sir.
Gupta Sahib, I think I can help you meet one of your older friend, Arup Chatterjee, who was there from Manila, live with us, so at least he was there. The same time we used to work. What I want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed every minute. You're not changed a bit. The way you used to speak 20 years ago, you speak the same way. Students, particularly for you, with his permission, I want to share something. We used to call him to motivate our students. And some of the students from semi-urban or rural areas used to face difficulty in English communication. And Mr. Gupta used to tell them that how he learned English. He was so passionate about it, and if he's determined to do something, he will do it. He says, I used to buy English Chanda Mama and read it. I used to buy tickets of English movies without understanding a word, go and sit there and persistently do that. And after some time, I realized I learned English and I started speaking the way I speak today. So what he meant was that if you want to do something, nothing can stop you in this world. I still remember that I heard from you maybe 23 years ago, 24 years ago, but it's so fresh in my mind because it is so relevant. It is so relevant. The way you talked in a free flow manner with the conviction and with the passion, I think it was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. I think it's going to help all our students, faculty members in our endeavor of trying to do something which I think everybody is looking at us. Thank you so much, Gupta sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You very well reminded me of that part. In fact, that was in my first year in engineering in REC Islamabad. Although I ranked 6th all India entrance exam, but being from the Hindi medium from Government Degree College in Lucknow, I had really a tough time understanding English in the class and communicating with people from all over India. So I started going to Sunday, 10th, 12th movie. Chanda Mama reading in front of speaking in front of mirror because at home and in school you never learn English, just reading and writing. So thanks a lot for reminding me of my 40-year-old days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us for the day 3 of Research Summit. I request all participants to stay with us for upcoming 6 days for lots more to explore and learn from eminent speakers to come up. Tomorrow, day 4, we have with us Dr. Dinesh Neelkan, Dean of CMS Business School and Director of Center for Management Studies, Jain Deemed to be University, and Ms. Amita Paul, Product Manager, LinkedIn. Requesting all participants to stay tuned throughout as it's mandatory to fill feedback form for all sessions to receive certificate. Tomorrow we are going to begin sharp at 7:30 p.m. with the first speaker. Request you to log in 15 minutes prior to the session. Hope to see you all tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. Have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
you. Good night. People are attending really.